Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Recha Kudash. Welcome to another live lesson. This is a response to, or it's a response to, it's all about the chariots / various topics. The video you're looking at in front of you is Elder Pastor's video that he did, which I actually watched this video from Mike from Rethinking the Dollar. And I actually heard when the brother, spoke, and he brought out the information about the chariots. And it's also a response to Elder Apostle Gabar's response to Apostle R's video. And the various topics part is going to come, Lord's will, by a video that I was watching earlier of Elder Yashawanba. Now, the brother, that came on Mike's channel and he started speaking about the chariots, I was listening to him. He was coming through. He was hitting points. He was hitting a lot of good points, But at first, when I first heard the brother, I'm just being honest, it seemed like a little out of place. It seemed like a little, brother, please forgive me, a little bugged out at the time, just the way it was kind of coming out from my perception of it at the time. And, there were certain things he was saying that kind of threw me off a little bit. But then when Elder Pastor put this video up and I went back and I listened to the brother's testimony, I was like, nah, that brother was on point, so I felt bad about it, and then I went and I read the comments on Elder Pastor's video and Elder Apostle Gabar's video that he posted, and you could, hear the sincerity in the man, how he was writing, and that made me feel even more like shit. But, at the end of the day, it happens. I was wrong in the perception that I had at the moment, and the brother came through. Like I said, I listened to it for the second time, and I was like, nah, that brother was coming through. And, like, one of the things that kind of threw me off a little bit was she'll be coming around the what? So that kind of threw me off a little bit, because even though they're speaking about the chariots, it kind of seemed like it came from left field. But, like I said, I went back and listened to it, and the brother was coming through. So I say salaki to the brother, and, hey, it happens, But one thing when Apostle Gabar and myself were speaking, he did say that this is like some extraordinary knowledge to be putting out there, because the perception of most people out there is that the chariots they're aliens, they're extraterrestrial, UFOs, aliens. So they like have this, it's almost like a taboo, it shouldn't be spoken of, but when it is spoken about, it's looked at as something that's bugged out. So it is extraordinary to really understand that is in the same book, the Bible, that the so-called Christian community claims to believe in, because they are the words of the Most High. And when I was watching Mike, I knew that watching it at the moment, I knew he didn't want to deal with that, because although he calls himself a Christian, really his main thing is mostly about financial things. He, like, when you start talking about financial things, he'll talk to someone for a half hour straight, dealing with financial things. But when it comes to the scriptures, he really doesn't want to delve into that subject too much, even though he did say at one time that he always has time for the Bible. But, when you start bringing out things that are contrary to the biblical worldview of things, you make yourself an enemy to the world. And that, with that being said, let's go real quick to Amos chapter 5, verse 10. And I don't really have anything planned. I just wanted to say a couple of words on that. And mostly, I just wanted to give my apology to the brother, which he didn't know I said that. I thought that. But, it was weighing on me, so I just wanted to get it off my chest, because, that's how we are. Things are on our chest. We speak about it, So Amos 5 and 10 says, they hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. And this is what happens. There's another scripture. Just bear with me. Isaiah 59:15. Yea, truth faileth, and he that departed from evil maketh himself a prey. And this is what's happening, that truth has not been taught out here. What's been taught out here is plantation Christianity via white supremacy. So whatever they say, that's gospel, no matter what. So when you depart from the norm, you make yourself a prey. A prey is someone that's being chased by a predator. This was attributed to George Orwell, which when people did the research, they said they couldn't find who the original person that made this quote is. And it's not George Orwell. He just happened to use it in his movie in 1984. He said, in the time of universal deceit, telling the truth becomes a revolutionary act. The French philosopher Voltaire said, history is the lie commonly agreed upon. And this is what we're seeing right now, that veil that's put over the whole entire world. And people being caught up in that veil, and the only way for one to escape that veil is for the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai to pull that veil back and allow you to peek behind the curtain. And that's Isaiah the 25th chapter, the 7th verse, where the Lord said that the place where the mystery was going to start being revealed, upon the whole world would come from this particular mountain or this particular government. And that particular government is America, Babylon the Great. Because from America, this is where the whole truth and nothing but the truth has been taught through the Hebrew Israelites, beginning in Harlem, which is spiritually Jerusalem today. All right. So this is where all of that came from. And that's where the beginning of the revealing came from. So it says, yea, truth faileth, and he that departed from evil maketh himself a prey. And that's what happens. When you depart from evil, you make yourself a prey. Because, let's go real quick to, I got to go back to that precept. St. John 5, I'm sorry, not St. John 5. 1 John, which is the same author. 1 John 5 and 19, I got St. John on the brain. It says, and we know that we are of the Most High, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. So this whole society and the things that are taught are all taught upon the premise of, plantation Christianity / white supremacy. All right. Hey, shalom, brother. Shalom. No apology necessary, Elder Apostle. I strive to maintain the 144% truth that I learned from you and the other Elder Apostles on down. I am the brother that called into RTD and spoke to Mike Yashawan. Hey, shalom, Yashawan. Yeah, brother. It just, it was just bothering me, so I just wanted to express that. That's, hey, that's how we are. That's who we are. But yeah, no, I did see your comments on there. And no, brother, you were coming through because you asked, and what made me feel like shit even more was when you asked Apostle Tahar, Elder Apostle Tahar, or either one of them two, that I hope I represented right. And yeah, you did represent right, brother, in the spirit. You did represent right, But my perception at the time was off, and I can admit that, but it is what it is. So we moving on, baby. All right. So 1 John 5:19, and we know that we are of the Most High, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. So this is the problem, that the perception of the world goes contrary to the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And especially as Alan Parr put it, the world view of the Bible. And that's the point. The world view of the Bible has nothing to do with the view that the Heavenly Father laid down. And we went through that in the lesson yesterday, that the Most High's thoughts are not like the thoughts of these people out here. The thoughts of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai are totally different from this plane that we call the world or earth or whatever the case may be. That's why it said, as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways and your ways, and my thoughts and your thoughts. So the Lord revealed himself, revealed his son, revealed his truth, but he only gave it to a certain few. He didn't give it to everybody. And that's why when you bring out the truth to the world, it seems strange. Like they say, truth is stranger than fiction. Because it's put on a pedestal of mysticism, spooky stuff, things that people don't comprehend or understand. Why? Because the whole world lieth in wickedness, as we just read. But the truth of the Most High, which is holy, will not enter into everybody out there, So Amos 5:10 again, they hate him that rebuketh at the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. The word abhor does not mean hate. The word abhor just simply means to avoid, to not want inside of your circle or include in your circle, to be kept away. Like the nations, the heathens are abhorred. Revelation 11 chapter says that the temple that's without, leave it out, don't measure it, because that's given to the Gentiles. So they're abhorred, or they're excluded from the company of the Israelites. And that's all it means. All right. So there was a point that had came to mind dealing with this topic of the chariots. But you know what? Building on that whole, the weird, crazy, point of view that people or thought pattern that people use in this world, let's go to Isaiah, the 33rd chapter. And this is why we're going to read the 6th verse repetitively probably for the millionth or billionth time, for those out there that hate when we go over and over and over and over and over stuff. But any who or how or way, Isaiah 33:6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure, because this knowledge that we understand and learn is what's going to be able to keep us stable and to be able to understand these different things that people look at as strange phenomena, that people look at as being bugged out or conspiracy theories, right? And when we jump down to the 21st verse, it says, but there the glorious Lord will be unto us. I'm sorry, that's not it. 33 and is it 30? No, or is it Isaiah 21? Just bear with me 1 second. I'm trying to remember where that scripture is. No, I believe it's Isaiah 28 and 21, if I'm not mistaken. If not, yes, this is it. For the Lord shall rise up as in Mount Perazim, he shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. Because see, this was the great deliverance out of Egypt, was by what? By way of the chariot leading Moses and the children of Israel out of Egypt. And when the Lord told Moses to raise up his staff and he parted the waters, parting the waters of the medulla oblongata. That's an inside joke. That big chariot was there. Because remember, Yahushua followed us, or followed our forefathers in the wilderness. All right? Damn, there was just a precept I was going to go to. Okay, beautiful. Deuteronomy 33:1. And this, matter of fact, let me get the other one so I don't forget. All right. Deuteronomy 33:1. Oh, one more came to mind. Nope, not Psalms 28. Yeah, I was trying to do like a walk and talk earlier because I had to walk, to take care of some business. And I wasn't able to because, my channel got a strike on it. And I had created GMS Info Doc channel 14 through 20 using the a method that the brother Rapa from the New York camp did a video on a while ago. So I got all kind of channels, but they're not authorized to go live. So maybe Lord's will, one day I'll do a video and have, brothers and sisters, subscribe to it. Maybe that'll help build it up to where I can go live, just in case, anything happens to my channel again, But anyway, Salaki, I'm just a little scatterbrained and, just thinking out loud. Deuteronomy 33:1, it says the blessing of Moses. It says, and this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of the Most High, blessed the children of Israel before his death. Now, who also did this? Who also gave a blessing to the children of Israel before his death? Jacob, our forefather. And this is proof, if you have the eyes to see, that that Moses and Jacob were the same person. They're in that same fatherly figure, in that same head, stead or state. So he said, the Lord came from Sinai, which is Mount Sinai, which when you look at a map, all right, just bear with me 1 second. I want to get a good one. All right. Let's see. This is kind of small, so I don't know if it's going to open up. Just bear with me 1 second. I want to try to get a bigger one. Just beareth with me. All right, let's see what this one is like. This might do it. Yeah. All right, this will do it. Let's work with this. All right, let's work with that. So here we got the Gulf of Suez, the Gulf of Aqaba, and this is where we crossed, or our forefathers crossed, the Red Sea by way of the Gulf of Suez. Now, a gulf is the opposite of a peninsula. A gulf is bodies of water surrounded by 3 parts land, and a peninsula is land surrounded by 3 bodies of water. Almost like a fork. So you have water here, and water down here, and then same thing with the Gulf. So when we went into this region of land here, which you'll have Egypt to the east, to the west, and then the land of Israel, Petra, and everything is further north. To the east of this would be so-called Arabia, Mount Sinai here. This is the area which is called the wilderness of Zin, Z-I-N. It also sometimes is spelled S-I-N, Sin. So this is where we were at, in this area. So in this area, and prior to being here, this is where the Lord appeared to Israel. And this, what we read in here, also goes back to, I'm not sure if that, I believe that's Exodus, the 20th chapter, when the Lord gave the laws, the so-called 10 commandments, which is really more than 10 commandments. But the 10 commandments was like a guideline to the rest of the commandments. When we read further down, I believe it's here. Beautiful. Exodus 20 and 21. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where the Most High was. And the Lord said unto Moses, thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel. This is after the glory of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai appeared before Israel. This is when Moses had was about to be given the law, statutes, and commandments. This is prior to him going up into the mount to get the tables of stone, before Israel totally just went off. It says, you have seen that I have talked with you what? From heaven. How? By the chariots, the so-called UFOs. Let's get another precept in here. This is the book of Psalms. Well, you know what? I already had that. where is it? Psalm 68. Let's bring that in now. Psalm 68:17. The chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them as in Sinai. See? In the holy place. So in this area here, where we're looking at, this is where the chariots appeared. This was after the deliverance out of Egypt. So the chariots appeared again when the glory of the Lord came down. Right? Deuteronomy 33:2. And he said, the Lord, I'm sorry. Exodus 20:22. And the Lord said unto Moses, thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, you have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. You shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall you make unto you gods of gold. Why? Because going back to Psalm 68:13, it says, though you have lion among the pots, you shall be as the wings of a dove covered with silver, and her feathers as yellow gold. This is dealing with the chariots. And sometimes they would appear silver, sometimes they would appear as gold, or they would appear with both silver and gold, lights, so on and so forth. And when it speaks about the dove, it's talking about the hovering or the flying, because chariot hovers, it maraca puffs. So like in Isaiah chapter 60 in verse 8, it says, who are these that fly as a cloud? And this is why this is why Mike got scared. He got nervous, he got scared, he got spooked, because he don't really want to deal with that topic or subject, because he thinks from whatever research he'd done or whatever he heard, that the chariots and the angels are demonic beings. He has said this a while ago. I'm not sure if it was 2 months, 3 months ago, or maybe a little longer or a little shorter. He said that he believes that those are demonic entities. But this is based off of the research that he's done, that Esau's pushed out there. So he's fallen into that the wrong venue, so to speak, because he's following Esau, and being that he's in that plantation Christianity, and he has a mixed audience of people that follow him that are so-called Christians. He's very careful on how he treads, when he deals with scriptures, which shows you that if you're really about the truth, you would just go with it, say, oh, you know what, this is the truth. But anyway, it says, who are these that fly as a cloud, which are the chariots, and as the doves to their windows? Because the chariots have windows around them. I believe another scripture that brings it out is the book of Ezekiel, the 1st chapter. All right. So who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their window? And this is why, when we read Psalm 68, it spoke about them being of silver and of gold. So when the Lord came to give Moses those 10 commandments, it says, you shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall you make unto you gods of gold. Why? Because Israel saw when the Lord appeared to Moses and he gave him those commands. So he said, don't make with me gods of silver or gods of gold. Because, Jake, anything that you have out there, they want to make an idol of it. So the Lord said, don't do that. And then it goes on to the altar and everything. But the point is, don't make with the Lord the gods of silver or gods of gold. Why? Because those were the chariots that appeared when the Most High was speaking to Moses. And that was the glory of the Lord being seen. So going back to Deuteronomy 33:2, and he said, the Lord came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them. And Seir is what? This is the mountain, or one of the mountains that pertain to the Edomites. But before it was actually given to the Edomites, it belonged to the Horites, which were Hamites. All right. See, that's a history that not many people know about. That the Horites, which were actually Hamites, which are actually dark-skinned people, actually lived in that land prior to Esau getting in there. Aha. And the word Horite goes back to the word har. The root word is har, which means hill. Or you could also use it for mountain. All right. It says he shined. He shined from Mount Paran. Why? Because of the lights that were coming from the chariots. It says, and he came with 10,000s of saints, which these saints are the angels, not the Israelites. There's two types of saints. You have the saints of the heavens, which are the angels, and you have the saints of the earth, which are the Israelites. From his right hand went a fiery law for them, and that fiery law that came from them was what? The so-called lasers, or that concentrated fire that came out. And if I'm not mistaken, that might be Exodus 33. And if not, then I'll see if I can find it. Let me see something. Excuse me. All right, here we go. This is the same story. Exodus 31:18. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communion with him upon Mount Sinai, which we're reading about, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of the Most High. And what is that? That is the lasers that come out of the chariots. All right. Then, building off of that, let me get this scripture real quick. But before I go there, let's go to the book of Habakkuk 3. Because it said it was written with the finger of the Most High. A fiery law that was written with the finger of the Most High, which we read in the book of Exodus 31. So now in Habakkuk 3:1, it says, a prayer of Habakkuk the prophet upon Shigionoth. O Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years, because now we're witnessing the revival of the prophecies of the Lord that he spoke. It says, in the midst of the years, make known in wrath, remember mercy. Because when the Lord brings hell upon this place and upon the wicked, we ask the Lord to remember mercy for us. It says, the Most High came from Teman, which is one of the main cities of Esau, their wise men, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. We're reading about this all over the scriptures. It says, Selah, his glory covered the heavens. What is his glory? The chariots. And that's why when the children of Israel looked up, they saw the chariots of silver and of gold and the lights and different things of that nature. The Lord said, don't be making no idols of that. It says, and the earth was full of his praise. And this is another reason why them nations were nervous, because they witnessed this. It says, and his brightness was as the light. He had horns coming out of his hand. Now, the horn coming out of his hand were the chariots. I'm sorry, the lasers. Now, I want to get the red Bible that we have, because there's an actual precept there, and there's a saying within that precept that hammers, the point that it was an actual laser, which a laser is nothing more than concentrated fire. So just bear with me while I find it. So that's Habakkuk chapter 3. And the word there for horns is bright beams out of his side. All right, so those bright beams are what? Those lasers. And that's what the Lord is going to use when he comes back as a destruction mechanism. Certain people are going to be cut in half. They're going to be eviscerated by the lasers. The military of Esau and the other nations is going to be eviscerated by a blast of the blast of those lasers. And this is what the Lord is coming to do. But most people, especially plantation Christians, have been taught that the Lord is all love. And this is why they find it hard to believe that this is the fashion in which Yahweh Shai is going to come upon the earth. He said that I am come to bring fire on earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? So reading something like that, and then he said, I came not to bring peace, but a sword. So it should get you to thinking, if if your thinking cap is on, the Spirit is working with you, that why would the Lord say that if he's a man of all peace? Then it says that the slain of the Lord shall be many. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments? Wait a minute. What? I did it mighty to say. Why is it saying all these things? But this is proof that they're not reading, and pretty much they've been blinded by the Lord, and that's why they can't see. All right, and this is something that they don't want to deal with. They don't want to delve into that, because Esau made it to where it's a thing of some. If somebody speaks about it, they bugged out. And that's why even in the comment board, when the brother was bringing out the information, they would, some people were saying, yeah, that guy is crazy, this, that, and the other, because that's the consensus of most people, that if you start speaking about the as soon as you start speaking about the chariots, this guy is a bugged out individual because he's talking about some UFOs. And that's what they wanted, or they want the world to believe, because they don't want people to be thinking about that, because this is one of the biggest fears of Esau, because they know what those chariots are. They know that they're the angels. They know that the Yahweh and the angels are coming, to destroy this place. And this is one thing that they can't do away with, and they're worried. So this is why they're constantly trying to figure out ways to create different technology to destroy these vehicles. This is why they create space forces. This is why they make speeches. The different presidents make speeches about the chariots and an invasion from outer space. Because they're trying to get the people to stay dumb, but show you how they're wise, but then they're stupid, because the Lord is still going to destroy them regardless. Scripture say, what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? The Lord forbid. So it's still going to happen regardless. So you're fighting a losing battle. But this is the thing, that they're going to be afraid, but they're still going to try to fight against the Lord. And this is why they make movies like ID4 and other movies dealing with, the chariots. But at the end, Esau always wins, which is total nonsense. Hold on for 1 second. Salaki about that. So reading back Habakkuk 3 and 4, and his brightness was as the light. He had horns coming out of his hand, and there was the hiding of his power. Because remember, when we read Second Ezra's, the 13th chapter, which the brother never got a chance to go to, it tells you that he sent a blast, as it were, out of his mouth. Matter of fact, let's get that, since the brother wasn't able to get to it, which shows you that now notice when anybody else called to Mike's show, and they were talking about financial stuff. He was on there with them for a while, but as soon as the brother started bringing out the scriptures, he wanted to quickly end it. Well, we don't have time for this, But wait a minute, I thought you were a Christian. I thought you was a Christian. What do you mean you don't have time for the Bible? Oh, put it in the whatever chat that they had over there, whatever the case is. No, well, these are pertinent things that need to be spoken about. What you're dealing with right now financially is in the scriptures. So why seek to try to find a solution to something that there's no solution to? When you go to the source, to the scriptures, it tells you what the solution is. But that shows you that, Jake, when it comes to the Bible, they don't want to hear the Bible. They're Christians because Christian is a thing where you get along with everybody. Everybody's cool and nice with each other. You just accept whatever person is. But when you go into the nitty gritty of the scriptures, it's a total different game, a total different ball game. But anyway, 2 Ezra 13 and 3. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heavens. We're reading the same thing in the different scriptures we're reading about. And this is the same thing that happened during the time of, when we were in the wilderness of Zin, Mount Sinai, where the chariots appeared. And this is the same thing that's going to happen in this time when the Lord, Yahushua and the angels come back to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel. It says, and when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. Because you have to imagine this. Here it is, you got these so-called fierce warriors, right? They're flying jets, Well, I shouldn't even say fierce warriors because these are punk bitch warriors. They call themselves warriors or military men, but they're really punk bitches because a real warrior would be out there on the battlefield, going to war, Yeah, no, I know he cut you off, bro. He cut you off because he got nervous. And, it's two things. He's scared, and also because, his audience, don't really want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So all things trembled that were seen under him, because you have to look at it like this. You got to think of it this way. You could watch different videos on these different wars that Esau had, World War I, World War II, where the planes were in the air fighting each other. You seeing a man, you trying to kill this man before he kills you. You seeing other men coming, so you're trying to maneuver around them and trying to, do your, be your best, to outdo everybody else so that you don't get shot down. Then all of a sudden, in the midst of all this, you see these strange objects coming out of the sky. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? Because it changes the whole ball game. Because now no longer are you fighting other men with the same contraption that you're in. You're looking at things that are strange. You're looking at these things that the world has taught you that they were UFOs. They were these strange phenomena. They were aliens, So now your whole mindset starts to change. That's why when we read further down, it said that they were afraid. But yet there's fight. Why? Because the Heavenly Father is going to draw them into that battle. So they're going to be programmed. They're going to want to run away, but they can't because they're going to be compelled to fight against Yahushua. So it said, whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice. And this is what we were reading about in the book of Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter, where it speaks about the power, that horn, which are the lasers that are going to be coming out of these chariots. It says, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number. And this is the same exact thing that happened back in, I believe that was 1952, when you had an appearance of a whole bunch of chariots over the Capitol building. And I thought it was Eisenhower, but I believe it was Truman, if I'm not mistaken, and he sent forth a whole bunch of jets out there. You know, the Air Force, you know, to fight against these things. And by the time they got there, the chariots had disappeared already. Which shows you that these devils are going to fight. And you know what? Spirit is telling me that the chariots were still there, but they just turned off their cloaking device, or turned on their cloaking device. You know, so they were still there looking at them, but they couldn't see them. So that was the Lord messing with them. And this was all the way back in 1952. You know, and now here it is, all the way, what is that? More than 60 plus or 70 years later. 70 plus, about 70 years later. Wow, about almost 70 years. 2022 will be 70 years. You know, you got a Space Force, you got all this different. Why if these things are not a threat, or if these things are you know, you bugged out for thinking about them, why are you spending so much money and time on building arsenals and military units to fight against something in the space? Think about it. Aha. Yep, like the brother said from Virgin Islands, the heavenly host gonna be peacocking. Yeah, they're gonna be boasting and bragging, you know, bopping their head and showing off with those maneuvers. Hey, they actually did they actually did that one. I think that was no, not the tethering. There was another video where they showed it. It was a NASA video where they showed the chariot. It was hovering. It was maracaputhing, and then all of a sudden you see the chariot take back off the other way, lightning speed, and then all of a sudden, right after that, you see a shining light, and then you see a laser come out. So that just shows you that Esau, as great of a technology that they have, is nothing compared to the technology of the angels. Because here it is, the angel already knew what you want to do. Angel stopped, took off in a different direction before you could even let loose that laser. Because once the chariot took off, then you see the flashlight, then you see the laser coming out. So your shit is weak, man. You got weak sauce, trying to fight against Yahweh Shai and the angels. So you're done. Let me see, brother. GMS Ancient of Days 4. Article title in 1952, Flying Saucers over Washington sent the press into a frenzy. Yeah, that's right. Because all of a sudden, this is just something that doesn't exist. This is why they set up shit like Area 51 or whatever the hell that's called. Men in Black. People that have actually seen the chariots. They said, nope, that's not what you saw. You saw this. You saw men with big heads. And the big heads represents the afros. That's why they make them with big ass heads like that, because that represents the afros. So instead of, those are the grays with big heads and blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop, this, that, and the other. So what is Esau afraid of? So it said that they will gather together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven, because remember, the Lord is gathering all of these armies over there. So they're in the midst of them fighting, they're going to stop fighting and try to fight against the Lord. To subdue the man that came out of the sea. And who was the man that came out of the sea? What sea? The heavens, space. Oh, space don't exist. There ain't no such thing as space. There ain't no stars, there ain't no moon, there ain't no sun. Man, shut your bitch ass up. To subdue the man that came out of the sea, because he came from the heavens with the angels. And they're trying to fight against it. This is why they built. If this was just a hoax or not a threat, why the hell are you going to spend so much time and energy, and money on building weaponry for this, superior weaponry for this, if it's nothing? So it says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. This is the same mountain or chariot, that he flew up upon. When he actually came, to deliver the children of Israel out of Egypt. Because remember that great chariot, which we could read that it's either, I believe that's 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, when Yahushua followed them, that rock that followed them. That chariot was so huge that what the Lord did, Yahushua did, was he put that chariot between, behind the children of Israel and between the army of the Egyptians to slow them down. And what he did was he kept the front lights on for Israel to see, and he turned the rest of the chariot off so that they were running in the darkness. They were trotting in the darkness and getting fucked up because they couldn't see. So it says, but I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not, because he thought it was an actual mountain from the size of this, chariot. But he couldn't see it. He looked on the earth. He couldn't see any place where there was a big chunk of the earth taken out or a big mountain taken out. This shows you the mass, that this chariot was. It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight, because the Lord put the Spirit upon him to do that. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire. And this is what we read in the book of Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter, and the 4th verse. And his brightness was as a light. He had horns. What are those horns? Horns of power. But in this case, it was that concentrated fire that was coming out of the chariots, coming out of his hand. And there was a hiding of his power, because it said that he didn't lift up hand or sword or anything. It says, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mingled together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence. Remember, it says, with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burn them up. The elements shall melt with fervent heat, and burn them up every one of them. And burnt them up every one, so that upon the sudden of an innumerable multitude, Armageddon, nothing was to be perceived but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid, and even Ezra trembled when he saw this. Can you imagine that great sight? And we're reading about this. We see in movies that depict things of this nature, but it has nothing on the actual, the actual thing when it's happening. Oh, it's going to be nasty out here. It's going to be nasty out here. All right. So, we could go on and on and on with all the different scriptures on the chariots and all this, that, and the other. But one last thing I wanted to say real quick before I close out is I was watching this video here, Elder Yashawamba, Christian pastors huddle up concerning the Israelites, and you have a whole bunch of so-called leaders among the so-called churches that have been commissioned with the job of trying to do something about these Israelites. So they've been given a bag, to do something, because obviously they see that guys like Vocab Malone and Dr. James White the Edomite and other, so-called, leaders and gatekeepers for the white supremacist plantation Christianity is not working. So they're trying to get together to stop the young men from these so-called churches leaving and coming to the Hebrew Israelites, coming back to their heritage. Because what's happening is they fucking with their money. And one thing you don't do, you don't fuck with a black man's money. As Jake says. You don't fuck with his money, you don't fuck with his food, you don't fuck with his woman. So now that they fucking with their money, these guys were put on a mission to try to stop, this ever-growing knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that's coming from the Hebrew Israelites. And you're not going to stop it. So pretty much what they're doing is they're trying to cement and keep their spot. And I just want to leave you with one precept, St. John 11:45. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Yahushua did believed on him. And this is dealing with when he rose up Lazarus. It was undeniable. They couldn't say it was of the devil. They couldn't say whatever, because it was a miracle that was done, that everybody saw. And they knew that the man was dead. This was going on the 4th day. But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Yahushua had done. And this is why you have here, what conspiracy to kill Yahushua. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. So what you're witnessing here is a great council as to what is to be done about this situation. This is why you have the slanders. This is why you have bugged out individuals that do shit. And they say, oh, he was a black Hebrew Israelite. He was a rapist. He was a pedophile. Because they know most people are just retards. Emotional retards. And they base their whole existence on emotions. So they know if they push that out there, even if it may not work at that moment, but the idea is there. And this is how these devils work. It's gradualism. Constantly putting stuff in people's minds. So then by the time they ready to roll, the mind of the people are already against us. Based off of the shit that's been force fed down their mind through the propaganda machine of this multi-world media. And that's what it is. That's a scripture that came to mind when I was watching this video. As you can see, I'm almost at 50 minutes. There's another like 12 minutes and change. I was watching this earlier, and I was trying to do a lesson on the way, to where I was going, but I couldn't go live with my phone, so I had to, hold off. So pretty much, with that, I pray that your brothers and your few sisters have been edified. And to the next time I say, Shalom.